So hello friend, we are back again on our channel SQL tutorial by ABKCHO groups. So what is the main perspective of this course? So in this course we are going to explain you complete date and time function in SQL Server. So basically from where you will get all the date time function. So basically these are system functions. So when you go to SQL Server and now let's connect, make a connection. So we will go and connect with our local server by Windows authentication. Now connected. When you open a database, and let's open our own database which is ABKCHO, and expand this and go to that programmability. Now from programmability, when you go to store procedure, when you go to functions, then we have tabular function, scalar function, aggregate function, and system function. Now expand the system functions. So here you get number of functions in which we are going to discuss today the date and time function. So when we expand the date and time function, here we have around 16 of the date and time function. Now let's go to our PPT and check what are all we are going to cover. So basically in this course we are going to cover all of these 16 means date time function. So basically what is date time function? First of all we need to go through that. So in SQL Server, date function are built-in functions specifically designed to manipulate, calculate, and extract information from date and time data types. From date and time data types, and these functions simplify operations involving temporal data such as retrieving the current data, calculating intervals, formatting date values, or determining the difference between two dates. Okay, so now what are the types of date and time function? So we have around 16, as I have told you before also, we have 16 date and time function. So first of all is date function, then we have month function, then year function, current timestamp function, get date function, date add function, date diff function, date name function, date part function, get UTC date function, is date function, sys date time function, sys date time offset function, sys UTC date time function, switch offset function, and the last is to date time offset function. Now let's go ahead and discuss each of them one by one. So first of all, we have our day function. So the day function in SQL Server is used to extract the day as an integer from a date value. So when we provide a date value, we will extract the which day is in that particular date, and the value is in integer. So it returns a value between 1 and 31 representing the day portion of the given date. Day portion of the given date. So let's move on to our SQL Server and check what this particular function will do. So basically I have written the script for all of the functions. Now we will test them one by one. Now go ahead and trigger that select day function. So we can put a date for which, so let's take today's date only. So for today's date we will extract our day. So be clear on that we need to put under single quote when we are using day, when we are using any date data type, or we are using any string data type like varchar and all. So we need to enclose that under a single quote. Okay, so today's date is 2025 03 and 15. So what result we are getting? Now execute our query. Just first make the screen little bigger so that it will be visible to us clearly. Okay, so I think this much is fine. Okay, select date for this particular date. So the day is 15. As you see, no column are coming because we have not provided any alias to that. So we can also provide a alias like as desired date, desired day, desired day. Okay, now execute this. So now we are getting the column name as desired date equal to 15. Now let's move to the second function. Secondly, we have month function. So now what month function will do? The month function in SQL Server is used to extract the month as an integer from a given date. So it will do also the same thing, but it will provide you the month, number of month, which month is that. So it returns a value between 1 and 12, where 1 represents January, 2 represents February, and so on. So we have a very simple syntax for month also, same like day, like month and the date. So now go to our SQL Server and check for month also. So just in place of day, we will mention here month and th, put all in caps so that our query will be in line. Th get month and alias name as desired month and th month. Now control R. Now execute this query. So what we are getting? So third month, if you can see, third month, which is March. This month is third. Okay. Now move on to the next function. Now we have the year function. So the year function is also similar to that day and month. It will provide you the year. So let's read first. The year function in SQL Server is used to extract the year as an integer. Okay, so it is also providing us the output as integer data type from a given date. So when we give a date, it will provide us the year in integer. So it simplifies the work with temporal data when you need to retrieve the year portion. Whenever we require to, means in some of our projects we need to fetch only the year part. So in that cases we will use this particular function. So let's move on to SQL Server and check what result we are getting here. So select, in place of month we will use year, year, desired year, as desired year, YAR. Okay, so now control R and then execute this. So we are getting our year proper. Okay, perfect. Now let's move to the next function. What is our next date function? So now we have current timestamp. So basically what the current timestamp is doing, the current timestamp function in SQL Server is used to retrieve the current date and time of the system where the SQL Server instance is running. So where your SQL Server instance, what is you mean by SQL Server instance? This particular instance that we are running. So this is the SQL Server instance, means it is running in my local. So it's the local instance. Okay, like that. So it will provide you the current date and time of the system where the SQL Server instance is running. It is ANSI. ANSI is the standard that we all know. So it is the ANSI SQL compliant and server and serves the same purpose as the get date function. So both means from current timestamp and get date we will get the same result. Okay. So now let's move on to our SQL Server and check what this current timestamp will do. Now I will fetch that query from here. Now pick it up. Current timestamp. Remove this. Control A. Clear all. Control R. Now here we have written a means simple query only. The syntax I have also shown here. It is the just the current timestamp. Select current timestamp. Okay. So now we will check what is coming. Select current timestamp as select date. So you can mark here that here we don't need to provide the function sign like this. It will provide us the result like this also. Okay, so now execute this query. Now we are getting selected date as current timestamp, which is the date that our system date means, which is our system date. So here we can see it's 15/3/2025, 13/1 means 116. Okay, and this is the minute part and this is the second part. Okay, now let's move to the next function. So what we have next after the current timestamp, we have get date function. Okay, so the get date function in SQL Server is used to retrieve the current system date and time. Similarly as that of current timestamp, we are getting here also the current system date and time. Which system I am using, that's date and time it will provide. It provide a date time value based on the server's system clock. Means what is the server system clock is there. So that timestamp the get date is providing. Okay. So now let's try this also once so that we will get a clear idea on this. Okay, so I will fetch the get date function query and execute this. So the syntax for get date is also simple. Just select get date and then you need to give a open and close parenthesis and then select date. Now execute this query. So what result we are getting? Same result we are getting here also as that of current timestamp, which is the current system date and time. So this is 15th March and then 117. So 58 is the minute and this is the second part. Okay, now let's move to the next function. So after get date, what we have? After get date, we have date add function. Okay, so this is very important function, friends. So be cautious in this. So the date add function in SQL Server is used to add or subtract a specified time interval to or from a date. means specified time interval to or from a date it will provide us. So it is incredibly useful for date and time calculation. Okay, so now let's go to SQL Server and check the working of this. So syntax of this is also simple, like date add, select date add and date part, which date part you want, and the number of means that particular date part. Date part here is representing like hour, minute, day, month, year, etc. So date part and the number, how many means amount of that particular date part you want, and the date. Now move on to SQL Server and check the working of this also. So with this we have written all the date parts, so we can check for all of them. Now paste this query here. Now first check with the second, select get date second plus 300 get date, means what is the get date. So in get date it will add up 300 seconds, means you can say approximately 5 minutes. Okay, so currently my time is in my system, it's 119, so it will add up 5 minutes. So it is now providing us the result as 13. Check the time only currently, because date here will be same, time will increase. So 13:24 it is providing, it will add, it has added 5 minutes to the get date. Okay, now check for that minute. So what we have written, select date add minute plus 30 minute, means from the get date. So now the get date is 13:21, 13:20, so it will provide us 30 minute after, means 13:50. So now execute our query and check. So what result we have get? The same what we have expected. The expected result has came. So it is providing 13:50, means 1:50 p.m. Okay. Now move on for hour. So this particular date, this is the date part. So be means properly check this, what date part you are providing and what date part you need in your project, and where you are working on that. Okay. So now select date add. Date part is our hour part, and 1 hour we need to add. We want to add 1 hour in our get date. Then when we add 1 hour, what result we are getting? So here currently 13:20, so it will provide us 14:21. So it's 13:21. So as expected, it is providing the result as 14:21, means 1 hour after the get date. Okay. Now let's move to day. So here our date part is day. So select date add, which date part, day, and 1 day we want to add in get date. So today is 15th, so it will provide us the result of tomorrow, means 16. Okay, so it is providing the exact record as we expect. So check this, 16/3/2025 it is providing, means 1 day after today, means get date. Okay, now check for month. So current month is March, then it will provide us the fourth month, which is April. So now we get the result as expected. Okay, so 15/4/2025. Okay, clear. So and now check for year. So current year is 2025. Now get date year is 2025. Now we get the result as 2026, 15/3/2026. Okay, so I think this is clear to everyone. Okay, now move for the next one. So next function what we have? Next function we have is date diff function. So date diff, basically this is also very important function by the perspective of your project, real-time projects also, and companies projects also, and also at the point of view for interviews also. So this is also very important. So what it do? Let's check. The date diff function in SQL Server is used to calculate the difference between two dates. So two dates difference it will provide to us. It return the number of date or time interval specified by the user between the two provided dates. Okay, what the means user need, which time interval between two dates, so that difference it will provide. So it will be much clearer when we go to our means SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server UI, and check the result. So let's pick up the function, pick up the query for that date diff. So now here we have mentioned two dates. Okay, let's press this. So now select date diff. Now we want the which date part you want. So we want day difference between these two dates, we want the day. Okay, so it will provide us the day, day difference between these two dates. So we have taken 2025 first and then 2025 15th March. Okay. Now execute this query and check the result. So 14-day difference it is showing us, which is as expected. Okay. So similarly, you can do it for month also. So copy this particular and paste this. Now we want, if you want month date part for that this particular difference, then we can mention here the date part. So see friends, here it is asking for three arguments. Basically, one is the date part which you required, and then first is the first date that you provide, and this is the second date that you provide. Okay, so here now we take the argument as month, th month. Now execute this query. Hmm. So there is no difference between the dates, so that is why it is providing us 0. Okay, so let's take a larger difference. So if you take 1st January 2025 and today's date, then we will get around 2 months of difference. Okay, the result is coming as expected. So see this, and similarly you can do for year also. Okay, and similarly for hours also and minutes also. So this will provide you the date difference between two of the dates. Okay, now let's move on to our PPT and then check the next function what we have. So after date diff, we have date name. Okay, so date name, these are also means important only. So means be clear on these parts also. Date name is also an important function. This is required also in interviews and real-time projects also we will use this. So what this date name function will do? So the date name function in SQL Server is used to return the name of a specified part of a date. Name of the specified part of a date, such as the name of the month, day of the week, or other date parts. Okay, so the output is returned as string value. So the output of date name is string value. Okay, so outputs you need to be cautious on that part, means what output particular date function is providing. So now move on to our SQL Server and check the query for date name also. Okay, so I have prepared for all of the date parts like day, month, week. So let's query this first, and the get date we have taken here. So this particular date name will require only two arguments, the date part and the date for which you want that particular date part, date name. Okay, so now execute the first one. Sorry. Okay, now exit. So what is the date from the get date? This is 15th date. Okay, this has returned 15. Okay, now check for month. So it will return the month name, complete month name. So basically it is mostly used for month names and weekdays, like that kind of things. So mostly it is used for that only. Okay, now let's check for date name month. So the month name is March. Okay, so currently it's March, so it is returning March. Now check for weekday. Which weekday is this? Okay, now execute this. So today is Saturday, so it is returning Saturday. Okay, clear to everyone? And now go and check for year, what it is returning. Year it's 2025, so year name 2025 it is returning to us. And if we check for minutes, then 27 minutes currently. See my system time, so it's 27 minutes. Okay, 13:27, so 27 minutes. And similarly second it will also provide to you. So second, 50 second, 51 second, increasing. Okay, so I think this is clear to everyone. Date name. Now let's move to the next function from the PPT. So what we have here, now we have date part. So date part is also very important for the perspective of interviews also and real-time projects also. So what it will do, let's discuss. So the date part function in SQL Server is used to extract a specific part of a date. A specific part of a date it will return to you. Means specific part in the sense like day or a month, year, hour, second, like that. Date part, a specific date part from a particular date that we provide. So this is particularly useful when you need to work with only a portion of day value, only portion of date value. So now go to the SQL server and then check, then it will be much clearer. So let's pick up the query for date part. So for this also I have created for all of the parts. Now this also required two argument, the date part you need and then the date from which you need the date part. Now first of all we will check for minute, select date part minute, and we have taken get date, so that we will compare from the current date. So current date and time. So it's 13:29, so 29th minute it is returning to us. Okay, the result is as expected. Now check for a second, how much second it is. Now second, 24 second, 25 second. Okay, so this is also returning correct only. Now day, so today is 15, so 15 we get. Okay, now then again select date part, month from the get date. So month is third month, then execute this. So third month we are getting as expected. So clear. And then year also we will check. So which year? 2025. 2025 we are getting in our output. So this is clear to everyone. Okay, now let's move to the next function. After date part, what we have? We have get UTC date. So get UTC date function, what it will do? The get UTC date function in SQL Server returns the current date and time coordinated universal time. In coordinated universal time means UTC, the full form of UTC is coordinated universal time. So this is the global time, so that it will provide. The get UTC date function in SQL Server return the current date and time in coordinated universal time UTC, which is the global time standard. This is particularly useful when you need time values unaffected by local time zones. So local time zones, what we are referring? Local time zones like if currently I'm working from India, so current local time for me is Indian time, and if someone is working from Europe, then their local time is European time, Japanese time, like that. So that are the local time zones. So if you want your date should not affect from the local time zone, then you will use this get UTC date function. Now move on to SQL Server and we will check what this particular will do. Okay, so I have written a query for this also. And one more thing I will tell you in this. First check the get UTC date function working, and then we will discuss that part. Okay, so we have what in our queries, like get UTC date. So see what it is returning, 15th March 8 8 a.m. So basically means UTC date are before us, so it's 8 there, and as I'm working from India, so it's 1:31 in at my place. Okay, so if we want to check means how much of date difference we have currently, so we can use this particular function. So this I will explain separately in a video, but just check what is the difference. So currently we are 5 hour 3 minutes away from UTC time. Okay, so in India, India is 5 hour 30 minutes away from UTC time. That is clear. Okay, so here from here also we can check how many hours of difference is that. So 5 hour, and then in minutes how much minute it is. So it is 330 minutes, which is 5 hour 30 minutes. So we get the exact record. Okay, so get UTC date is also clear to everyone. Now let's move to the next function. So go to our PPT. Now what we have after get UTC date, we have is date function. So this is also means you can say very important function for project point of view, and interviews rarely it is asked, but some of the interviewers can ask is date also. But in projects you will use this means more frequently when you are working with dates. So what it will do, let's check. The isDate function in SQL Server is used to determine whether an expression is a valid date or time or not. Okay, so it will determine if the particular given string value or the value which is given, that is a valid date or time or not. So it returns a value of 1 if the input is a valid date or time, and 0 otherwise. Means if we will provide different value, then it will not pro it will provide 0, and if we will provide a proper date, then it will provide 1. So now go to SQL Server and check the working of this also, is date function. So both I have provided written the query for both of them, for date also, and if we provide not date, then what it is returning. So let's make it little small so that it will be visible. So first query, it is returning date. So we are checking, select case when is date is get when is date, and we have passed the parameter as get date equals to 1, then true, else false. So if is date it will return 1, then it's true, otherwise it is false. So for get date, let's execute the query and check. So for get date we are getting true, because get date is a proper date. Okay, so this is verified. And when we will pass our means channel name ABKCHO, so case when is date ABKCHO is equals to 1, then true, else false. Means if it will return 0, then it will be false. And this case statements and all are means good concept. So for this also I will make a separate video, dedicated video for these case statements and all. There we will explain you much better for case and all. So this is for date, and we will create a separate video very soon for case also. So here you can see we are getting false, so it is returning 0. Okay. Okay, so basically without the case statement also you can check if what values we are getting. So just write directly select is date and our channel name ABKCHO. So execute this, we are getting 0. Okay, and when in place of our channel name we are passing get date, then what value we are getting? Get date, then we are getting the value as, execute this, 1. So this is a date means proper date format, and that one is not. Okay, now I think this is clear to everyone. Now let's move to the next function. So after each date, what we have? After each date, we have sys date and time function. Okay, so now let's check what it is doing. The sys date time function in SQL Server returns the current date and time of the system where SQL Server is running. So mostly these get date and current time stamp, sys date are kind of similar things. Okay, similar functions. So means both have their different uses, but means almost both are all are similar. So now move ahead in this. This function provides greater precision than get date. So if we want greater precision than get date, then we need to use sys date and time. Why? As it returns the current date and time as date time to data type. Okay, so get date is providing date and time data type, date time data type, and sys date and time is providing date time to data type, which includes fractions of a second, nanoseconds. So in nanosecond we will get our records. Okay, so now go to SQL Server and check what record this sys date and time providing. So select sys date time. Now execute this query. So see, here we are getting high precision of the nanoseconds. So this is the result from sys date and time, and what is the result from get date, that we will also execute and compare both. Okay, so right here get date. Now execute this also. So what we are getting here? See, so first record is from sys date time function, and the second is from get date. So see, the precision of the nanosecond for sys date time is larger than that of get date. Okay, so clear to everyone. Now move on to next function. Okay, so what we have after sys date? What we have after sys date? We have sys date time offset function. Okay, so let's check what sys date time offset function is working. The sysDateTime offset function in SQL Server returns the current date and time of the system along with the time zone offset. Means it will also provide us the time zone offset also. So this makes it useful for applications that need to track time zones in addition to the date and time also. So in some cases it happens like we need the means zone offset also, like which zone we are working. When globally we have global clients and all, and we are working for them, though in that kind of data we basically find like zones offset and all are also mentioned. So for means that particular things also we can use sys date and time offset function. So let's check what sys date and time function is doing. Go to SQL server and pick the query for sys date time offset function. So now execute this. So here what we are getting, so see here we are getting what sys date time is providing plus the offset also, sys date time offset. So offset 5 hour 30-minute offset. So as we are working in India, so we are 5 hour 30 minute before them. Okay, so this is like that. Sys date time offset is means similar to that of sys date time function, but it is also providing offset value. Okay, so it is clear. Now let's move to the next function. What we have next? So next is sysutc datetime function. Sysutc datetime function, what it will do? The sysutc datetime function in SQL Server returns the current date and time in coordinated universal time, means UTC, with a precision of nanoseconds. So it will provide us the UTC timestamp in a precision of nanosecond. It is similar to that of get UTC date function, but provides a more precision result as it returns a value in date time too. So similarly like that, get UTC date, we are getting date time as data type, and here for sys UTC date time we are getting date time to data type, means more precise data we are getting. Now let's go to SQL Server and check the result for this also. I'll pick the query for sys UTC date time. So what we are getting here, select sys UTC date and time, sys UTC date time. Okay, so what if you paste this record here? So see here we are getting more precision of nanoseconds. Okay, so this is also clear. Now let's move to the next function. What we have, so next function we have switch offset. One second, switch offset. So what switch offset function is doing? The switch offset function in SQL Server is used to change the time zone offset of a date time offset value while preserving the same moment in time. That is, it adjusts the displayed time to the new time zone but keeps the actual point in time intact. So is it clear? Okay, so what it is doing, it is providing you, means same time it will, same date time it will keep, but the zone it will change, means as per our requirement. If we want to change the zone of a particular means date time, then we can use switch offset function, so that we will get the time of that particular zone. Now let's move to SQL Server and check what it is doing. Okay, so what we have here. Okay, now pick up the query for sys UTC date time. Select sys. No, we are in switch offset. Let me check what function we are discussing. So switch offset we are discussing. Okay, so pick up the query for switch offset. Okay, copy this and paste this. So switch offset will mean switch the offset value of the given date. So here we will take the sys date time offset. So because sys date time offset is providing us the offset value also, so we need to pass the date which have the offset value also. So in that particular it will add or means subtract the offset according to our requirement. Okay, so here you can see we have taken a date also. So 15th March 10th, and the offset is 00, and we want to add 1530. So this is the adjusted time. When we execute this particular query, what we are getting? So in result, the offset has been added, but the original date and time remains the same. It has not changed. Okay, just the offset is added, and here in time part, it has added this particular offset and given us that time for that zone. Okay, so now for this offset also we can execute once. So what here we are getting? This we are getting with the updated offset. Okay, Okay, so this is also clear to everyone. So mostly these are not in use, but if you work for a global client and all, then at that time switch offset functions and all these are also means used. Okay, so these are also important, and this can be asked in interview also. So you can be prepared for that also. Worst case also we need to prepare for that also. Now what we have, the last function we have is to date time offset function. So what that to date time offset function is doing, let's check. Now the to date time offset function in SQL Server is used to convert a date time or date time to value to a date time offset. Okay, if a time we are providing in date time value or date time to value, then it will convert it to date time offset value by adding a specified time zone offset. Means specified time zone offset means the time or the time zone where you are available at that time. So that time zone offset it will provide and add to the date time data type or date time to data type. So this is helpful when you want to attach a time zone offset to a date and time value. Okay, so if we have, let's take, if we have a date time data type like get date, if we have somewhere and we want to check for what will be the offset value, so we can add this particular also. Okay, in that particular date it we can add the like offset. As per our requirement we can add up the offset also. So select to date time offset to get date, what we are getting, so we are getting this particular as added. This time zone offset has been added to that particular date. So any means offset we can add. One second, we can check here. 530 we have added because we are working from India, so 530 is our offset. You can add also 330 also. If you add, then you get 330 added to the time. So what get date is providing, get date is providing us only the date time data type, and by using the to date time offset we are converting it to offset time. Okay, we are adding the offset time to that particular date and time also. So select get date. So what is the value of get date? So with get date we are getting as date time data type, see here, and by using to date time offset we can add the offset also in the date time data type, and this will also work fine with the date time to data type also and date time data type also. If you want to add the offset value, then we can add here. Okay, so clear to everyone. So from we have covered all the means date time function here, and thank you for watching the video, and like, share and subscribe the channel, and many and many more videos are coming on the way. So main concepts are coming, and also we will means by using these date time functions we will create some applications like date calculator and birthday calculator and all in our next videos. So be ready for that you can present in your projects also, and means get a good package, and normally you can achieve better knowledge on SQL. So be with us. Thank you for watching. And for online trainings, as I have discussed, you can contact the number to our organization, which is ABKCHO Groups, and then our representative will be in touch with you. Thank you for watching. Thank you.